second. I'll open the files. See. It's fine. Just okay. Okay. So this interrupt part we have completed for timer 0, timer 1 interrupt 0 and interrupt 1 interrupt. But serial communication we have to discuss. So that we'll discuss after discussing the serial communication part. So I'm just checking in case anything left out. Okay, serial communication part left out. We'll discuss on that. Okay. Okay. Now, so first we'll start with the discussion on the basics of serial communication. Just hold on a second. It is not responding. Okay. 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 Serial communication part. Okay. Okay. Serial communication of 805 microcontroller. Okay. So two methods of data transfer, um, uh, parallel communication and the serial communication. Parallel communication involves n number of lines depending on the size of the data. If the data is 8-bit, it will transfer. It will have 8 lines, parallel lines. These are the meta wires, connecting wires to transfer the data to a device as well as to receive the data. The condition in the sense it is suitable for short distance communication. For example, let us say LAN connection, or let us say this within a CPU. You must have seen that if you have seen desktop PCs inside the CPU, it's something like this. Just hold on a second. Okay, so inside the CPU, there is a motherboard. So to the motherboard, other components are connected. Motherboard, other components like hard disk. Okay, let us say hard disk is connected. Hard disk, okay, and let us say the DVD drive, okay, or another, what do you call it? Graphic card is connected. Many devices are connected to the motherboard. So these for this kind of communication, parallel communication is preferred because the distance is very small. The length of the cable required is very small. In that case, we can go for a parallel communication. For example, if it is a 64-bit processor, for example, The number of lanes should be 64. Number of lanes should be 64. Okay. 32, number of lanes should be 32. Likewise. Okay. So that is a simple example of a what is known as a serial communication. So sorry, parallel communication. I'm sorry, not serial communication. Parallel communication. So whereas the serial communication is used to communicate between to send the data as well as receive the data between two devices which are located far away. Okay, so the data in this case is sent through a single line, instead of multiple lines like this. It consists of only a single line. Let us say one more device connected serially. For example, this is one system, and let me write like this. Okay, so this comprises this will make up one system. Let us say there is one more system, another system connected, another device connected. So let us say, for example, this is one PC, PC1, and there is one more PC, PC2. So for communication between these two devices, which are situated at far place, far away, kilometers away. In that case, if you use this n number of lines for a 64-bit processor, if 64 lines is used, it's not a feasible method. It's very expensive um, uh, and not a recommended way. So going to be, because these are conducting wires, copper lines, very expensive. Okay. So in that case, serial communication is preferred. Okay. So what is a serial communication? It uses a single line for the data transfer. Of course, it will make use of other lines for power supply, and for control signals, it will make use of other lines. So serial communication is not a single line, but when it comes to data transfer, it is a single line. Unlike in parallel communication, the data lines are n number of lines, where n is equal to the size of the data. In serial communication, the number of line used to send the data is only 1 bit, depending on the um, one bit, and along with that, it requires additional wires for the for syncing purpose, for controlling signals, for supply voltage, for all these things. Okay. So how the data will be transferred? It will be sent bit by bit. And this we have seen in our ADC course also. There is what do you call the shift register. You have seen, of course, there we have discussed. We had only 4-bit shift register. Let us say, for example, there is a 8-bit register, 8-bit shift register. Okay, 8-bit, for example. So 0 to 7. There are total 8 bits. Okay. So this processor will place the data onto this register. Let us say the data is some data 00000010. Okay, so data is 0 to H, for example. Okay. So how the communication is done is, if all the 8-bit is transferred, we require 8 lines. But for serial communication, we are going for a single line. When single line is used, this data stored in the register like this, 00000010. Each data is transmitted bit by bit, 1 bit at a time. And as the data is transmitted, these bits are shifted to right side or left side depending on the implementation of the shift register. So there are different types of shift register, guys. Not what we discussed in our ADC course. There is much more detailed types are there in shift registers. So depending on the implementation of the register, data will be transmitted bit by bit. And the data are shifted in the shift register in a particular direction, either from MSB to LSB or LSB to MSB. Now, what is the advantages of this parallel register and parallel communication, and what is known as serial communication, that we have to discuss. Okay? So that's the basics of a what is known as a serial communication. So there is a simple diagram to indicate serial example for a serial communication is LAN network, your cable network. At home you have a cable network, and VGA cable. All this comes under USB. USB is a simple example of a serial communication. For parallel communication is a what is the network is? What is it? F, FRC cable, FRC, flat ribbon cable. Guys, I'll show you that. Let me open the Google. I'll show you the FRC cable. Wait to just imagine FRC cable, when you can actually view the FRC cable. Oh yeah, FRC open something. FRC cable. FRC stands for flat ribbon cable. Okay, because I think you have seen this kind of cables, in your PC or in your printer somewhere. You must have seen this kind of a cable. Okay, this is called as a flat ribbon cable. This is used to transmit data. It can be 8-bit or n number of bit in general terms. Okay, along with that, it will also carry the supply lines. Okay, so this port will provide data lines as well as supply lines. Okay, this is called as a FRC cable, flat ribbon cable. Along with that, this example is like LAN network for serial communication. For LAN network, you know many examples. For a parallel communication, interconnection between short distance devices, so that data can be transmitted at a faster rate. Okay, so I think the advantages is not explained here. No? Okay, it is not explained here. Advantages and disadvantages. Okay, this what will be the advantages of a parallel communication? Okay, so when we take the example of a the advantages of parallel as well as serial communication. For a parallel communication, the advantage is, since first thing is, let us say for example it is transmitting 32-bit, for example. Okay, it is transmitting 32-bit at the same time, no delay. It is faster communication. Okay, the advantage of parallel communication is faster. The advantage of serial communication is it makes use of less number of cables, less number of wires, less wires. Okay, what is the drawback of serial communication? The drawback of serial communication is that it transmits data bit by bit. For example, let us say we are dealing with 64-bit, for example. Okay, so the size of the register should be 64-bit, and the data should be stored in this 64-bit register, and the data should be transmitted bit by bit. Okay, so the communication becomes slower. In case of a serial communication, if the number of data to be transmitted is more, the speed of serial communication becomes slower. Of course, slower in the sense that is the earlier situation. Now we have a situation where the speed can go up to gigabytes per second. Okay, you can see your your serial communication transfer is a faster operation, so there is no issue with the speed. That's not a issue anymore. But in general, general comparison with respect to parallel communication, we can say that serial communication is a bit slower. What is the drawback of parallel communication? Number of lines required is very huge. For example, 128-bit processor, 128-bit data, number of lines required is 128. So there is a disadvantage. Okay. Okay. So that's about basics of serial communication and what is known as a parallel communication. So for serial communication, of course, in our discussion, we'll concentrate only on the serial communication. Okay. So at the transmitting end. Okay, so what is the author is trying to say is, there are two devices. So this is the device 1. Looks like P, not D. Okay, so device 1 is interface to another device, device 2, okay, serially, of course. Okay, so first the data to be transmitted from, let us say, D1 to D2, for example, it has to be placed on a particular register which acts as a shift register, and the data will be transmitted bit by bit. Okay, so at the transmitting end, okay, at the transmitting end, the byte of data must be converted to serial bits using parallel in serial out shift register. Yes, you have seen this register, guys. So we have come across 4 type of shift registers. 4 type means 4 mode of operation: serial in, serial out, serial in, parallel out, similarly parallel in, serial out, and parallel in, parallel out. Since here serial data is to be transmitted, in other words, the data to be transmitted in serial fashion, whatever the data available, it is a 22H, for example, this has to be converted into serial data. Okay, that means first 22 is stored in the register, that is 0010. 0010 22H. This data we are stored parallelly, correct? For example, let us say I'll take one example. Move P1 comma hash 22H. That means the data 22H is stored into port P1. That means we are transferring the data parallelly. But the data should be transmitted serially. That means output of the register should be serial. Output of this register should be serial. Okay. So the way of storing the data into the register which carries the serial data is parallel in serial mode. That is called as a parallel serial mode shift register. Okay, just a mode of operation of a register. At the receiving end, there is a serial in parallel out shift register to receive the data serially and pack them into a byte. So at the receiving end, there is one more register which will receive the data serially, because the sender is device D1 is sending data bit by bit, zeros and ones. At the receiving end, the operation should be serial in parallel out. Why? Because it will receive the data serially, okay, and it will convert into parallel data. Parallel data means when you read all the bits at the same time, you get the parallel output. Serial in parallel out shift register. Very simple. Okay, so this we have we had an experiment and we are very much aware of that. So the distance is short. The digital signal can be transmitted as it is on a simple wire and requires no modulation. Okay, for a short distance communication, modulation is not required, whereas for a longer distance communication, we have to go for a modulation. Okay, if data to be transmitted on a telephone line, it must be converted into converted from zeros and ones to audio tones. This what does it mean? Okay, in a telephone lines, of course nowadays we use mobile device also. It can be wireless communication or it can be a wired communication. Okay, so for example, let us say there are two devices which are communicating. Okay, two devices are mobile devices, for telephone lines, for example. Okay, so this is telephone line one, device one, telephone device two. Okay, the data, they are connected using wired communication. Okay, they are connected using wire. We know that these wires cannot transmit zeros. How can a wire transmit zero and ones? Okay, can it transmit zero? No, it has to transmit the signal in analog form. So whatever the data processed by the system, that is T1, is analog signal. It has to be it is internally stored as zeros and ones. This has to be converted back to analog signal, and these analog signals are transmitted over the transmission line. At the receiving end, this analog signal has to be converted into zeros and ones for storage purpose. This simple example is our LAN network. In a digital library, you have a internet, multiple hundreds of computers are connected to server. Okay, the computer devices, if you take this as PC, PC1, PC2, each PC will store the data digitally. It cannot store the data analog because internal storage device is a digital storage device. But the communication, the LAN network cannot transmit zeros. I mean, it does not transmit zero and ones. It will transmit analog signal. Okay, so thereby it requires a digital to analog conversion at the transmission stage. At the receiving stage, the requirement is analog to digital conversion. Very simple. So that's what the author is explaining with respect to telephone line. The operation is same, and the purpose is same. Okay. So this conversion is performed by a device called as modem. Modem stands for modulator and demodulator. Okay. This in this case, the modem which is responsible for interfacing two devices. Okay. So let us say this is PC1, and there is another device called as PC2. Okay, for these two devices to communicate, there needs what is known as a modulation. Why the requirement of a modulation is, just now we have understood that for a longer distance communication, what we require is a modulation. Without modulation, we cannot send. For a short distance communication is okay, but longer distance communication, they require a modulation. Whenever modulation comes into picture, I think two types of modulation you have studied in your basic electronics, I guess. There is amplitude modulation and frequency modulation. Guys, have you studied? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know your the electronics course content. I'm not sure. Anyway, so there are different methods of modulation techniques. Anyway, so for these two devices to communicate, they need a modulation. This modulation operation is performed by a device called as a digital device called as a modem. Modem. Okay. Modem stands for modulation and demodulation. Okay. While transmitting, for example, if PC1 is transmitting data to PC2, this device acts as a modulator and this device acts as a demodulator. Okay, because the signal transmitted is a, say, PC1 sends the data in terms of zeros and ones. This modem has to convert it into analog form. It has to transmit. At the receiving side this analog data is signal is received, which is converted into zeros and ones, which is stored in the PC. Similarly, PC2 is transmitting the data to PC1. This modem acts as a modulator, and the receiving end acts as a demodulator. Very simple, demodulator. Okay, yes, these modems, they're very powerful. They're very powerful devices. Nowadays, it comes with a latest processor technology, high-end processor. If you see, if you want to get an idea about the complexity of the data processing by the modulators, it is said that these modems can solve a matrices of size 5000 cross 5000, 5000 cross 5000 matrix per second. Per second. That is the rate at which it is going to process the data. Very huge, very complex devices. Modulation and demodulation. Okay. So serial data communication. There is another concept into serial data communication. It makes use of two methods, two way of communication, two methods it involves in communicating the data serially: synchronous method and asynchronous method. Synchronous method transfers block of data at a time, okay, whereas asynchronous method transfers single byte at a time. Okay, this depends on the types of devices. Well, let us take one example. Okay, for example, let us say a PC, a PC is connected to a memory device, for example, memory device. Okay, and if this memory device is a slower memory device, for example, it's a slower memory device, then but this PC is the latest, is a pentacore processor, latest. I'm not sure about the latest processor. Is it 825? I think there's one more latest processor has come. I don't remember the details. I don't remember. Anyway, is the latest high-end processor. Okay. So it is transmitting the data. See, this operates at a gigahertz. This operates at a gigahertz. This memory device will operate very at a slower speed, maybe at a megahertz. Okay. So then data transfer should be at a slower speed, byte by byte. So it will transfer first byte, which is stored into the memory, second byte stored into the memory, third byte stored. It's a very slow operation. Okay. This is what is called as a asynchronous operation. Is it? Yeah. It is called as a asynchronous operation. Asynchronous method of transmission. The other possibility is that, okay, in the other possibility, let's say two devices are communicating. One PC is communicating with the server, okay, which is at a equal, which operates at a equal speed, okay. Then the serial communication, the data transfer, is what is known as a bunch-wise, or is also called as a block data transfer. Block data transfer. What is block data transfer? That means instead of sending a byte by byte, because what is the problem with the byte transfer is that, first byte is transferred, B1, first byte is transferred, then this the device will send acknowledgement saying that data is received. After receiving the acknowledgement from another device, that is from the memory, again it has to send another byte, B2, like this. Each byte takes some machine cycles, and hence it is a very slow operation. In the synchronous method of transmission, sender device will send a block of data, a chunk of data. It may be in terms of the size of this chunk may be megabyte. very huge, very huge, and it can be kilobyte also. Okay, megabyte or kilobyte of data. This data will be transmitted at once. The receiving device will receive the data and it will store it in the memory. It will store it into the memory. Okay. Advantage of synchronous operation is very faster operation, but it expects both the devices to operate at the same speed so that syncing is possible. Otherwise, for example, in this case, if synchronous operation is performed, sender is sending very huge bulk of data. Receiver cannot receive the data; it lose the data. Okay, it will result in loss of data. Okay. Okay, so thereby, so the synchronous or asynchronous method has to be decided based on the type of the devices. Based on that, we have to decide the method of transmission of data, synchronous or asynchronous method. So it is possible to write software to use either these methods, but programs can be tedious and long. Okay, that means we can write a code to achieve this operation. That is, operation means either select a synchronous method of writing the data or asynchronous method of writing the data. But it's a tedious job. Okay, nowadays for everything there are readily available codes are available in the market. We can make use of. So there are special ICs, integrated circuits, chips made by many manufacturers for serial communication to provide serial communication between multiple devices. These devices are called as UART or USART. UART stands for Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. USART stands for Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. What does it mean? It's very simple. Okay. For example, again the same devices. Let us say PC1 and let us say there is one more PC2, for example, or another device. Let's say it can be another PC, or it can be another device, or it can be a memory device, or it can be anything. It can be a simple simple device, which has a memory. Let us say, for example, printer, for example. Okay, it can be any device. Okay, now when these data are transmitted, okay, these devices require for serial communication to happen. First thing is it needs modems. For example, if it is a communication between two PC devices, it needs a modem, modulation and demodulation. Okay, along with this, in fact, a part of the modulator, these are called as modulators. Modem. They are called as modems. These modems implement serial communication in either of the two methods, UART or what is known as USART. Okay, UART, as the name suggests, it stands for Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. That means both the device will transmit the data in the form of asynchronous method. What is asynchronous method? As just now we discussed, asynchronous method corresponds to transmission of data byte-wise, byte by byte. Okay. So, for example, if both the device has UART capability, both the devices, has UART capability, they'll transmit the data byte by byte. Whereas, if both the devices has a USART capability or future supported hardware, supported IC chip hardware, then they can transmit the data blockwise. They can transmit the data blockwise to multiple devices. Okay, so that's the difference between. Of course, these devices you must have come across in your desktop PC or in your printer or in your mobile devices also. There exists what is known as a UART or USART. Yes, as the name suggests, this USART supports both the kind of transmission. It will support both the synchronous as well as asynchronous method of communication. So better to have USART. It supports both, because if you have only UART, it will support only asynchronous method of transmission. Okay, so USART is more useful when it comes to communication. Okay. What about our 8051 microcontroller? 8051 microcontroller, okay, to program 8051 microcontroller, whenever we interface, the 8051 main board, okay, so this 8051 main board, which consists of 8051 microcontroller, This is called as a main board. Main board means I think in the earlier classes I had showed Aryabhatta main board. Aryabhatta main board provided by Robo.in website. Robo.in is a Bangalore-based company, guys. This is Robo.in website. This 8051 microcontroller supports what is known as asynchronous communication. That is, it has a hardware called as UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. Okay, so thereby, let us say we connect Aryabhatta board to our PC, laptop or desktop PC. This PC should support this kind of communication. If it has USART device, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, then it will support both the synchronous method as well as asynchronous method of communication. But 8015 can support only asynchronous method of communication. That means it can transmit the data byte by byte. It cannot transmit the data, blockwise. Not possible. It cannot transmit the data blockwise. Okay. So why it is a receiver transmitter? Because a device can send the data serially as well as it can receive the data serially. That's why it's called as a receiver transmitter. It can act as a receiver as well as it can act as a transmitter. Yes, okay. So that's very simple. So if data can be transmitted and received okay, there are another possibility also for serial communication. It is called as a simplex method of duplex method. In duplex method, there are two types: of duplex and what is known as full duplex. In simplex method, is very simple. There is a transmitter. For example, it is a PC connected to memory. PC connected to printer, not memory. Let us say printer. At least memory you can read the data. Memory will not be the correct example for this simplex transmission. PC connected to printer. Okay, so printer cannot send the data to PC. Only PC will send the data to printer. One-way communication. Okay, so next comes the what is known as duplex communication. Duplex communication, there is two-way communication. In that there are two types: of duplex, full duplex. Of duplex, at a time a device can act as a transmitter or it can act as a receiver. Okay, it cannot act as both. If this is a transmitter device, this device will become receiver. Okay, if this is a receiving device, this device will become transmitter. The arrow should be like this. Arrow should be like this. Okay, that is shown using this switch. Switch in the sense, either it can this device, this device acts as a transmitter, the data transmission is like this. This will become receiver. If this device starts sending the data, then this is the path which indicates this device is a receiver and this device is a transmitter. Very simple. Okay. This example, let's say PC connected to memory device. PC connected to memory device. Okay. There is only one-way communication possible at a time. Okay. Whereas in a full duplex communication, parallel communication is parallel means two-way simultaneous communication is possible. This device, let us say D1 and D2. D1 can act as a transmitter as well as a receiver at the same time. Similarly, D2 can also act as a transmitter as well as receiver at the same time. So that communication is possible in both the direction at the same time. Example, PC connected to server. PC connected to server. Okay, so there is a two-way communication and there is a parallel communication possible, which gives a better performance in terms of speed of operation. The same thing is explained. The data can be transmitted and received in a duplex transmission method. So data transmitted one way at a time, it is referred as of duplex. If the data transmitted in both the direction, it becomes a full duplex communication or transmission. So this is contrast to simplex communication, where only one-way communication is possible always. Okay, yes, one more concept with respect to communication. When it comes to communication, there should exist what is known as a protocol. Okay, what is a protocol? Is a set of rules agreed by both the sender as well as receiver. On what basis? It depends on the data, how the data is packed, how many bits constitute a character, and when the data begins and when the data ends. Example, let's discuss one simple example. Okay, let's say this is a device 1. You can call it a PC1, device 1, whatever it is. Okay, there is one more device, PC2 or device 2, whatever it is. Okay, these two devices is generally, for example, let us say let's say this is a printer, for example. This is a printer. Now it is obvious that printer or scanner, whatever it is. Okay, it is obvious that PC is operating at gigahertz speed, very high speed. Okay, printer operating at kilobyte speed, kilobyte or I'm not sure. It may maximum operate at megabyte speed, for example. Okay, so what will happen is this PC is sending the data very fast. In this printer cannot receive the data, it will lose the data. Printer has a memory. It will store the document sent for printing. If data is transmitted yeah, erratically, this will lose the data. Not possible. So there should be some matching speed, which is called as a baud rate. That we'll discuss next. Baud rate that we'll discuss next. And next point is uh, uh, they should have a common understanding on few terms. For example, data. Okay. For example, what is the size of data? For example, it can be in 8-bit data or it can be 16-bit data. Okay. It depends. It depends on the type of devices. Another is how the data is packed. How this data is packed. This what is the meaning of a packed? For example, let us say this data is sending in like this. For example, let us say I'll write like this. Let us say PC1 is sending data through a register, shift register. Okay, so in this shift register, this end is a LSB. This end is a LSB, and this end is a MSB. For example, this data is sent bit by bit through this serial communication line. At the receiving end, if it receives the LSB as MSB, and if it receives MSB as LSB, that means it has received a wrong data. It has received a, for example, if the data is 0001 1100, and if the received data is like for example MSB is LSB, okay. Then what will be the data is opposite, 0001 1100 1100. That means it has received a wrong data. Okay, so there should be understanding how the data is packed. That is, which is the LSB, which is the MSB. Okay, how the data is packed. There is packing of data. Another thing is what is the start and end of the data. End of the data, for example. Okay, let us say for example, PC1 is sending a bunch of data. Let us take a simple example. Is 2 bytes of data. PC1 has to send 2 bytes of data. First byte is, let us say byte 1 is 0000 some example. Okay, 00 for example. Okay, so it is nothing but what is this 0AH for example. Byte 2 is something like 09H for example. 1001 09H. Okay, first byte 1 should go first. Byte 1 should be transmitted first, byte 1, then followed by byte 2. So if the byte 1 goes first, for example, if the byte 1 is transmitted first, what is byte 1? 0000 1100. After transmitting byte 1, using shift register, of course, using shift register, then we have to transfer the byte 2. Then we have to transfer byte 2. Okay, again using a shift register, the same data, the data will be transmitted. Okay, the understanding is that what is the size of data. See, for example, let us say both the device knows what is the size of data. The size of data is 8-bit. The size of data is 8-bit. 8-bit. Okay, for example, let us say due to some error in the line, some noise in the line, the byte 1 is transmitted. The receiving device PC2 will lose the LSB of byte 1. This is LSB and this is MSB. Okay, let's say for example LSB is lost because of some noise in the line, data is lost. But PC2 knows that PC1 is sending 8-bit of data. PC1 is sending 8-bit of data. What it does is it lost the first byte due to some error in the network. It will consider the second byte as the first byte. It will consider the second byte as the first byte. It will start counting 8 bits of data starting from LSB plus 1 up to the LSB of the second byte. Okay, so the data received by the receiving device is 10000110. Actual data sent is 0. Actual data sent is 00001100. Okay, this happens because the receiver does not know what is the start of data and what is the end of data. Okay, so thereby what the UART device or UASART device of a system does is, whenever it is given a byte of data to be transmitted, it will append. The word is append. Guys, I think you know the meaning of append. It will add. It will append what is known as start bit and end bit to the given byte of data. Let us take one example. Let us take the same example. Let us understand with respect to same example. Okay. The data to be transmitted, first it is sent to the register which is responsible for transmitting the data serially. Okay. So first what it does is it will store the data in the shift register. The data in our case byte 1, it is byte 1 is 00001100. Okay. As soon as the data is shifted to or stored in the shift register parallelly, okay, we know that for transmission purpose the register used is parallel in serial out shift register. Okay, what is this device? Either it can be UART device or USRT device. This is, it will append start bit and end bit. Start bit comes, for example, if this is LSB and this is MSB, start bit comes before the LSB start bit, and the stop bit, it is called as a stop bit or end bit. In some device, some text you may find, you may come across the word end bit or a stop bit. It is also called as a stop bit. Stop bit will come after the MSB bit. Okay, the start bit and stop bit cannot be same. If it is same, it is confusing. For example, if the start bit is 1, stop bit should be 0, or if the start bit is 0, stop bit should be 1. Very simple. Okay, then what does the microcontroller does? What does the UART device does is it will append start bit and stop bit to the given byte of data. For example, let us say there is one start bit and one stop bit. Size of data is 8 bit. What is the total size of data? Total size of the data, one stop bit plus 8 bit data plus one start bit. Number of bits for a given byte of data transmission is 10 bit. Okay, so 8 bit is converted into 10 bit and 10 bit is transmitted for each byte. After this stop bit, the second byte is appended. Before second byte is appended, again the same procedure. First comes the start bit. It can be either 1 or 0 depending on the implementation. Then comes the 8 bit of data. 8 bit of data, that is byte 2. So 8 bit of byte 2 comes into picture here. Let me erase this, guys. Let me erase this. Let me write. Okay, so the second byte comes here. That is first the start bit of the second byte. Start bit of the second byte, it can be 1 or 0, and then comes the second byte. Second byte, I'll take one example, 0, some example. Okay, yeah. After this, then comes the stop bit. So when this data is transmitted, the receiver first, it will come across the start bit. It knows that this is the start bit. It will ignore the first bit. Start storing the data from the second bit, which happens to be the LSB of the actual data, LSB of byte 1. So this 8 bit will be stored in a register in the receiving device. After 8 bit data, it will ignore the 9th bit. Actually it is a 10th bit, of course. This is because it is a stop bit. That means transmission device will append, there is UART, USART devices will append start and stop bit just to make sure that there is a separation between the multiple bytes of data. At the receiving stage, the receiver will ignore the start bit as well as stop bit. It will consider only the actual data. It can be actual data, can be 8 bit, 16 bit, 32, 64, or 128 bit of data. It can be any of this possibility. Okay, so these three operations are performed by devices called as UART device or USART device. USART device. This, in fact, one of the major application of a major purpose of these devices: universal asynchronous receiver transmitter or universal synchronous asynchronous receiver transmitter. Okay, so this is what is called as a protocol. Protocol means the understanding between multiple devices on transmission of data. If there is no protocol, if there is no understanding, the receiver does not know what the sender is sending, whether the sender is sending only start bit and stop bit, whether it's sending the actual data, the receiver doesn't know. Okay, there should be what is known as a standard rule, which is called as a protocol. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's about the protocol. There's more discussion, but that's enough. Okay, asynchronous serial data communication is widely used for character-oriented transmission. Okay, yes. In fact, I didn't mention the character here. There is one word called as a character. How many bits constitute a character? We took just one example, guys. What is one example, guys? 8-bit data. For 8-bit data, how many bits transmitted? 10 bit. Why 10 bit? One start bit and another is stop bit. Total size of the data is 10 bit. In some devices, number of stop bit is multiple bits. Start bit is same. And let me write it again. I'll take a separate page. Okay. Let us say the data is some example. Let us take some example. This is the byte 1. Okay. What does the device UART, USART, whatever it is? What it does is it will append start bit. Usually, number of start bit is always going to be 1 bit. It can be either 1 or 0 start bit. Okay, depends on the implementation. The stop bit can be 1 bit or multiple bits. Okay, for example, if it is 1 bit, it will append 2 bits. If it is 0, it will append 2 0 bits. Okay, so including 2 stop bit and 1 start bit, the number of bits will be 2 plus 8 plus 1. That means it is 11 bits. It is 11 bits. Okay, that means to transmit 1 byte or character, generally the author calls it as a character. To transmit 1 character, number of bits used is, it can be 10 bit or 11 bit. It can be 10 bits or it can be 11 bits. Why multiple stop bit is used? Very simple. Okay, there is a simple question. The answer for that is very simple. When two devices are connected, let us say when PC is connected to 8051 microcontroller, for example, PC is operating at gigahertz frequency, 8051 is operating at megahertz, 11.0592 megahertz frequency. Speed is very, frequency difference is very huge. Okay, PC is operating at a very high speed. The 8051 is operating at a very low speed. What will happen is, when PC transmits the data, of course, actually what is done is the speed of the frequency is brought down to the speed of the microcontroller. That is called as a baud rate. That we'll discuss next. That we'll discuss in the next class. So thereby, when since the receiving device operates at a slow speed, when the sender sends a particular byte of data, since the receiver has to receive the data and transmit it, store it into its register, more time should be given. That's why number of stop bit is more. Number of stop bit, instead of 1 bit, we can go for a multiple stop bit. But the start bit is always 1 bit usually, because even if start bit is also multiple start bit, then the communication becomes very slow. Okay, so start bit is always 1 bit, and stop bit can be usually 1 bit or 2 bit. It depends on the speed of the receiving device. That's what it is. Okay, so this is the meaning of how many bits constitute a character. Number of bits which constitute a character can be 10 bit or it can be 11 bit based on the situation, based on the receiving device. We'll discuss that. Okay, we have some example for that also. Okay, so this is what we were discussing. There's 2 more bits, I'll remember. So each character is placed between the start bit and a stop bit. This process is called as a framing. This is what we discussed now. Okay, this process of is not possible. Okay, yeah. So this process of appending the start bit and the stop bit to the given byte of data or to the given character, this process is called as a framing. This process is called as a data framing. This process is called as data framing. Data framing. Most of our protocols, guys, we have come across TCP/IP protocol. Yes, you must have heard of TCP/IP protocols in your systems. There is a protocol called as TCP, Transmission Communication Protocol, or IP stands for Internet Protocol. Okay, they does all this job. Data framing. Data framing is a common operation in a communication technique. Block oriented data transfer use the synchronous method. This we discussed. For a block of data to be transmitted, synchronous method is used. For a byte of data to be transmitted, asynchronous method. That's called as asynchronous method. Okay, what is the procedure for block oriented data transfer? For a block oriented data transfer, the protocol is slightly different. It cannot be like this. For each character, it cannot be like start bit and stop bit, because there in the asynchronous method, at least there is one byte of data. For one byte of data, there is a start bit and there is a stop bit. For block data transfer, there's multiple bytes of data, there's it's multiple bytes of. For these multiple byte of data, the protocol should be slightly different. The way the start and stop bit is appended, it's a different. Okay, so since in 8051 we'll concentrate more on, not more, we concentrate only on asynchronous method. We'll not discuss about the protocol for a synchronous method. Let us not bother about this for time being, at least. Maybe in your advanced courses you may study this, not in your electrical course, but in communication course. But in 8051 course, we'll confine ourselves to only the asynchronous method of data transfer, which involves byte by byte transmission. After appending start and stop bit, data will be transmitted. At the receiving end, start bit is ignored. Start bit is ignored, as well as stop bit is ignored. Only the data will be received. Only data will be identified. Okay. So what is a start bit? Start bit is a always one bit. Usually, it depends on the implementation again. But the stop bit can be 1 or 2 bits, as I just now explained. Number of this the author is trying to say is, it is not one. One bit means it is not logic one. It means single bit. One means single bit. Single bit of one. It can be 1 or 0. Single bit 1 or 0. Stop bit can be multiple bits, 1 or 2 bits. It can be either 0. If it is a stop bit is 0, 2 zeros is used. If it is a 1 is used as a stop bit, 2 ones are used. It depends. It depends on the implementation. Depends on the devices. Number of start and stop bit varies. Okay, this I'll continue. I'll continue from the next class, because it's almost done. In one class we'll discuss this serial communication. We'll discuss later. We'll discuss the baud rate. So this is possibly we can discuss in the next class. We'll not discuss this DB 25 pins. Earlier we had a discussion, but I'll give an example for this DB9 characters, and next we'll discuss that baud rate. We have to discuss the baud rates. We'll not have on this discussion. Okay, we'll have the baud rate discussion. After the baud rate, we'll go for the interrupt due to serial communication. Interrupt due to serial communication. Okay, so that should complete our. I think I didn't open the syllabus. That should complete our serial communication part. We have limited the serial communication part because to include other topics. That's the basic idea. Okay, so that should complete the serial communication part. After that, we have to take up the processor part. As a part of serial communication discussion, we have to discuss serial communication controller and what is known as a SBUF register. SBUF. Possibly this week we may spend on serial communication. Okay? So next week we will start the first unit, processor part. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for joining. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.